advances to the Final Four.
Shout out Chillinois Basketball Podcast.
Shout out to Chillinois Podcast.
Shout out Chillinois Podcast.
Shout out Chillinois Basketball, man.
Welcome back to the Chillinois Basketball Podcast. I don't want to hype this game up too much and make it seem like it's our Super Bowl, but we have been talking about this game since the beginning of the season. Noah's least favorite team in the Big Ten by far. The Illini face Michigan on Friday evening, 7 p.m. on Fox. We've got a lot to get through about this one. For the first time in nearly 20 years, actually for the first time in 20 years, we've got a top 10 matchup in the State Farm Center. That's only happened, let me see here. Looks like 3 times since the turn of the 20th century, 21st century. Michigan State versus Illinois in 2006, Wake Forest versus Illinois in 2004, and Michigan State versus Illinois in 2001. Michigan is ranked number 3. The Illini are ranked number 10. This is going to be a heavyweight battle. We've got the return of Morez Johnson Jr., and we've got a Michigan team that hasn't beaten the Illini in 9 games, in 9 matchups with this Illini team. The last time they did win against the Illini, I think Juwan Howard was coaching the team, or was it still John Beeline? Let me see here. 2019 Michigan basketball coach. It was Juwan Howard. So it was back in the Underwoods for, I think it was his 3rd season at that point, 4th season maybe. Nonetheless, huge matchup on Friday night, primetime matchup for the Illini. And we've got a lot to talk about. I kind of want to go through this one just as like a break down the front court, break down the back court, break down the coaching, break down the benches. We want to give a pretty thorough review for this Michigan game. Unfortunately, we're not going to have our other Noah on this podcast. He's at a Cavaliers versus Bucks game tonight. I just don't think he wanted the heat, to be honest. So I'm going to tell him if you can't take the heat, get out the kitchen. But we'll see who has the last word on Friday night. And I now want to introduce this Noah Morgano. Noah, what are you all dressed up for?
I've been waiting a long time for this game. Been waiting months, ever since the schedule was released for this game. This is the Morez revenge game. Well, I guess Illinois revenge on Morez for literally abandoning us. Not that I'm mad about it, because we got Merck now and we got Big Z, and I love both of them very much. But this is a big game. I mean, everybody knows this is a big game. I got a big hat. It's kind of glitching out, so I'll take it off. But this is probably the biggest game Illinois has had in a couple years, at least since the Terrence Shannon year. I mean, since that Iowa State game, probably. But it's a really, really, really good Michigan team, which is scary. But it's one of those, moments where Illinois could be, the 5th or 6th best team in the Big Ten, and you'd feel like they have just as good of a chance because it's kind of a rivalry game. I mean, Illinois wins every time, so it's not too much of a rivalry, but it's still a rivalry game. I mean, we look at it that way at least. It's interesting because Michigan, they don't even care about the Illinois game. They just look at the Michigan State game. It's like, we beat you every single time we play. Maybe give us a little bit of respect. Maybe, don't look past the Illinois game. But it's a Dusty May team that's, ready. It's not like the beginning of the year where they're beating teams by 1 point, where they're dominating teams. I mean, it's crazy. But this Illinois team is really, really good. And, it's one of those games where what did the line come out yet? It's one of those games where you could bet on either team.
Yeah, it's 1.5 for Michigan right now, but
Right.
I'm sure it'll get a little closer to even as the game gets closer to game time, obviously.
Yeah.
You did the thing where you answered my question before I asked you, because I wanted to start off by seeing, do you take this game as a rivalry? I was trying to look for the tweet while you were speaking there. I'm not going to be able to find it based on just what I'm seeing through my Twitter right now. It's long gone in the Twitter abyss, but somebody tweeted out earlier, kind of in response to people saying this is a rivalry game. I think it was Tom Fornelli. Let me look that up real quick now that I have the name in my head. Um,
Yeah,
Um,
this is definitely. I mean, for Illinois, it's a rivalry game. I mean, this is the game that I look forward to the most every year, besides maybe the Purdue game. But truthfully, this one is a little bit more exciting just because, well, this year especially because of the whole Murez Johnson element. I loved the Juwan Howard element of it too, but every year there's some reason for this game to be big, and I think there's going to be, fists flying, fouls being called. It's going to be interesting to see who, if anybody loses their temper or not for either team.
so now that I have it pulled up here, Tom Fornelli would disagree with you. He tweeted out earlier today, I'm seeing a lot of discourse today about whether Illinois and Michigan are basketball rivals. The answer is clearly no, they are not. In order for them to be rivals, Michigan would have to win at some point, and it hasn't done that in any of the last 9 meetings. Michigan's last win over Illinois in basketball was 2,603 days ago. I hope that settles things for those who weren't sure. So he would strongly disagree with you. I think if you take into account this is like Morez's revenge game, this does make a it gives it more of a rivalry atmosphere, at least. And I know for a fact that the State Farm Center on Friday night is going to be an absolute madhouse. I know the tickets that I was looking at, I'm no chance I'm going to that game on a Friday night. I have to work earlier that day, anyways. But I was looking at tickets just for fun, and they were going for like $500 in the very, very back of the stadium. So I think it's going to be a madhouse. It'll be absolutely sold out. It's Indy 500 night. I'm not really sure what tie the Illini have to the Indy 500, but they are giving out fans orange and blue checkered flags, which I think will be pretty cool to see behind the basket when Michigan is shooting free throws. But I guess that settles that debate. We think it's a rivalry game because Morez Johnson is returning after being committed to the Illini for like 3 straight years before playing for them, and then receiving a little bit more money from Michigan and wanting to shoot more three-pointers. So he will be booed at every opportunity, I'd
Which
imagine.
he hasn't done at all. I mean, he literally, I think he made one three I saw in a box score once, but he's not shooting the ball. I don't understand this whole Dusty May is going to let me shoot. And my theory is that his dad's Twitter, that's just Merez, that's his burner account. So I don't know who's under the impression that he can shoot the ball. He can't shoot the ball. I mean, maybe if he had a lot of time, he could develop that skill, but I don't think anybody wants to give him that time and that freedom. You, well, it's like Kofi Coburn. If Kofi Coburn one day was like, I want to start shooting the three, Brad would be like, no, probably not, just because that's not what you're good, that's not what you're really good at. You're really good at slamming the ball and getting rebounds and storming the glass. And I don't know, Morez it is weird because he was committed to Illinois and he loved Illinois and he would come to all the games and he was such a ride or die. And then, I mean, I understand it from the perspective of he didn't want to come off the bench again and, we wanted Tommy back and he wanted Z here. And so when you have Tommy and Z, it's like, well, what are you going to put Merez at the four? Not really. So at that point, it just wasn't really a good fit for either team. But it was just a weird way that he left the team and it like left a sour taste in everyone's mouth. And I remember the day that he like left is the day that Ty Rodgers was like, I'm coming back. And we are like, yeah, Ty Rodgers is back. 2 minutes later, his knee explodes. And so it's like, oh my God. Yeah, it's got a lot of tension built up, going back and forth. And I I wonder who they're going to stick on Merez, how they're going to plan that defensively. I mean, they got 6 days to plan it, so they should be able to do something. But I don't know. Cameron Crocker, you're up. Put him to the test.
And on that note, it's a perfect opportunity for me to bring up the sponsor of today's video. It's BetterHelp. If you are having trouble with Morez Johnson leaving your school and having trouble coping with that, use code Chillinois Podcast at checkout when using BetterHelp. No, I'm kidding. We don't have
No,
we don't have a sponsorship by BetterHelp, but it seems like you needed to get that off your chest, Noah.
no, dude. It's just at this point, I'm over Merez. I mean, I see him on Instagram. I see videos of him in the little Michigan huddles, like holding up their little downwards M, whatever they do. I'm just like, you know what? Wait until what's the date of the game? February 28th.
The 27th, sorry.
Just wait till the 27th, bud. That's all I gotta say. Just wait till the 27th. And if we lose, me and Merck are both going to be on the suicide watch list. You got to be careful. I'm going to drive to wherever Merck's at, and we're just going to lock ourselves away in a bathroom for 24 hours because I don't know if I'll be able to handle the amount of talking I've been doing for the last year, building up to this. I would not be able to handle an Illinois loss. So I'm not
It
even
would
gonna.
be it would be our toughest recap episode to date so far, for sure.
We could
Um,
just skip it. We wouldn't even have to do it realistically. We could just.
no, for the fans, we'd have to. Just like David Mirkovich, he's going to play every game, even if he's sick, or he's going to kill himself.
Well, let me
But
say
that
this.
actually, oh my
If
goodness, you're
Bob,
getting so
if
ahead.
we don't win this game, things are going to get really, really drastic for Bobasich because I've given him multiple chances. I gave him a chance in the Michigan State game. He let me down. Gave him a chance in the last game, UCLA, and he let me down. If he lets me down again, I'm going to smash him. I can't,
Sacrifices will be made.
I can't slice him, but I can smash him. So,
We should
and I
give
don't
him
want,
Tommy or Z to smash.
I don't want to do it because I love him, but he's letting me down.
On the note of Morez Johnson and front court, I do want to get started with our breakdown in the front court. I'm going to give my spiel and who I think has the advantage, at least in terms of front court players, and then I'll let you give your take because I feel like we might have differing takes here. But Michigan Wolverines, they're obviously going to have Yaxel Lendenberg. They're going to have Ade Mara. They're also going to have Morez Johnson Jr. That's primarily their front court. They also bring Will Cheddar off the bench sometimes. He only averages about 11 minutes per game, so probably not going to see a ton of him unless one team is blowing out the other. But if you go with those big three, as Dusty May calls them, Yaxel Lendenberg, Morez Johnson, and Ade Mara, they're pretty darn good. Ade Mara is the Spanish center, 7'3", so they do have a height advantage against the Ivisic brothers, but they do only have the one center, 7-footer that plays, if at all, unless they're going to bring in Malik Cordell from Germany. But they have some European firepower in Mara, and then they've got Morez Johnson Jr., who Illini fans are all too familiar with, and his play. Uh, he's just kind of a bruising forward. Will get you 8 rebounds a game. He'll have some highlight reel dunks. As we know, he's not necessarily a shooter. I'm very sure he's going to shoot one in this game to try and stick it to the Illini fans. And then there's potential, most likely All-American Yaxel Lendenberg transfer from UAB, averaging 14, 7, and 3. So he is just their do-it-all star. Um, I believe I thought he was shorter than that. He's 6'9", so he's very tall as well. Now, if you think about who the Illini are going to match that up with, it'll be Zvonimir, it'll be Tomislav, it'll be David Mirkovich. That would be their primary front court, I would say, and argue, unless you want to slip Jake Davis in there too. But the Illini do have some height. If I'm going to give either team an edge here, though, I will have to give it to Michigan. Um, I think Morez is going to be pretty hyped up in this game. We obviously know what Yaxel Lendenberg can do, and they do have a 7-footer. Not a whole lot of teams that we face this season do have 7-footers, so I think Mara could give the Avicic twins some problems. I'm going to give the edge to Michigan for the front court at least. Do you agree with that, or are you taking the Illini?
You want to know what I think about that?
I figured we'd disagree right off the bat.
I think Illinois is the
Okay,
better front court.
give me your
I-
take as to why.
This is why we're gonna go player for player. So you have who's at the four for them? Lindenborg?
Lendenberg or Johnson, probably.
Okay, let's just say it's Yaxel. First of all, what kind of name is that? Yaxel? I mean, is he Yaxel Lendenborg? Sounds like a Swedish folk hero. That's what he sounds like. Like Johnny Appleseed of Sweden. But if you put him against Merck, right? I think we all know what's gonna happen, right? 3 words. Really, it might even be 2 words. Pizza Hut parking lot. That's all I gotta say. Merck's gonna booty ball. He's gonna back him down. He's gonna stretch him out. He's gonna shoot the three. You might even see a rare Merkovich dunk. The rare, rare Merkovich dunk. Or he might even just do a Euro step. Listen, Merck clears him. This dude's Yaxel's like 33, can't cut it in the NBA, so he's like, you know what, I'm just gonna keep milking this college thing, getting paid like $50 million to play at Mich. Well, no, he's getting paid 4 million. He's not getting paid 50 million, but he's getting paid 4 million, which is still crazy. But he's not even the best on the team right now. I mean, maybe he is, but Merez is getting a lot of hype, and now like Cadeau's getting a lot of hype. Mara's getting a lot of hype. Surprisingly, he's been a really, surprising addition to their team this year. But if I'm, gonna pick one for an NBA team, I'm picking Merck. And if I'm gonna pick one for going into next year, I know Yaxel doesn't have any more eligibility, but if he did, I'd still go with Merck. I think Merck's got higher upside, and I think Merck's got more potential in the game. Now, if you look at the other two positions, I don't know in terms of Mara and Z. I mean, maybe give that one to Mara. I mean, I
Those are
don't know.
the top two blocking centers in the Big Ten, which will be fun to watch.
That'll be a fun matchup. And I think Tommy Merez will be a fun matchup too, because those are the two players that supposedly would go back and forth last year in practice and all that kind of stuff. So they're going to have,
Also, when we saw Tommy and Luke Goody's revenge game, we all saw how that went down too. So
yeah, Tommy, he's got some animosity, man. And especially Merez, because they're they kind of beef, and obviously Z's gonna have beef. They're brothers, so he's gonna back up his brother. And I like, if you look at them as a pair, Merez and Mara and the Ivisic brothers, I just like Tommy and Z a little bit more because you have shooting from both of them. You have the shot blocking. You have two people that are, I think very high basketball IQ. Maybe not as much with Z, but Tommy's got such a high basketball IQ. And yeah, I mean, I'm biased, but I'm going Illinois in that one.
I mean, it's not a stretch to say that. I guess if you look at like the Evan Maya matchup ratings, Zvonimir Ivisic, David Mirkovic, and Keaton Wagler is the third best or second best three-man lineup in all of third most efficient lineup in all of college basketball. So if you're putting Mirkovic on the floor and Zvonimir on the floor at the same time, analytics show that they match up with anybody really. Like I said, I'm going to give you the edge to Michigan. You're going to give it to Illinois, but I think that's kind of a toss up there either way. Let's get into the backcourt now. Assuming Illinois is going to bring Andre off the bench and start Jake Davis. We'll talk about Andre as if he's on the bench. So the backcourt for the Illini, if you're not, I mean, Jake Davis is 6'7" or 6'8", so he's pretty much a front court player that shoots like a guard. So we're gonna put him in the guards because that's where he's gonna start if he's starting anywhere. But he does have size, so keep that in mind. The Illini will also play Kylan Boswell and then Keaton Wagler, who everybody at this point in college basketball knows and is very well aware of. Um, Illini fans are very well of those three as well. For Michigan, it's going to be Cadeau, the transfer from North Carolina, and Namari Burnett. He also is a starter for the Michigan, at least in their last couple of games. Let me look up the numbers here because I don't think Cadeau had a great game against Duke. Yeah, 8 points, 6 assists, not his best game by far. They did win in their most recent game against Minnesota, who many were seeing as a trap game. They didn't play all that well. They beat Minnesota by 10, but I think the line was like 21 and a half. So anyways, backcourt's going to be a lot of Namari Burnett, who's a three-point shooter. He's like a 3 and D guy for them, averages 40% from three on the season. And then Cadeau, I think he's been around for 4 or 5 seasons now. He was at, this is only his third season, but he was at North Carolina for 2 years, and now he's at Michigan. He averages 10 a game. He's kind of their facilitator for their offense. Um, Easy pick in my mind. I'm going to give the Illini the edge here. When you put Kylan Boswell on the floor against anybody, that takes whoever away defensively. At least Kylan takes his defense takes them away. Um, Kind of negates that one player. And then Keaton Wagler. At this point, if you're going to ask me which guards or which backcourt players I would take over Keaton Wagler at this time of year, it would be maybe Darius Acuff, maybe. Uh, I'm struggling to think of another player I would draft over him in terms of backcourt players right now.
Not
So
a
that speaks
damn
volumes
one.
how it is. Maybe Acuff. You can make an argument for Acuff, maybe. I don't think you can make the argument for Braden Smith just because of his age.
Bobasich is hanging his head in shame at you for
I'm
even
sorry.
suggesting
I'm
that.
just I'm just bringing it up because that's what non-Illini fans are thinking, and I have to remain unbiased as much as I can on this podcast because we know you will always root for the Illini. But in this one, I'm going to give the edge for the backcourt to the Illini. Any disagreement there?
Could do, could don't. That's what I think. Elliot
Don't. I
could
like
don't
that.
is my new nickname for him. Who else do they got? His name is Namari Burnett.
Yeah, he's been there.
I'm familiar with him. I'm familiar with him. That
This is his
name,
fifth season. Texas Tech, he started at, and then he went to Alabama for a year. This is his third season at Michigan, so he's been there for a while. But he shoots 38% from three. So I was a little off on that mark, but he's their high volume 3-point shooter.
I mean, that's not bad, but
Do you have a nickname for
nothing.
him?
Namari Burnett.
I
Uh,
was kidding. You don't have to think too hard about this one.
Namari Turd. Uh, Turd Bet.
Uh,
I gotta think. I'll have something good for
all
you by
right.
the end of the episode there. But I mean, when you're talking about matching up with Keaton, it's unfair. He's too good. He's too good. And you can't. I mean, defensively, who does Kylan guard is my question.
Probably Cadeau. They might stick him on Lendenberg, they might if Lendenberg's getting everything. You know, Kylan can guard all five positions, but Lendenberg's got a lot of size on him, so. I think we'll see him probably guard Cadeau and then probably LJ Kaysen or whoever they bring off the bench.
And I wonder too, back to what you were getting at with the Stojakovic, does he start? Does he get benched? What happens
Um,
there?
I think he still comes off the bench. He's been doing it for the last two games, and I think it's effective. The one thing I will say, we seem to start every single game with this set play that ends in a Jake Davis corner three now. And we've missed it like half the attempts, but every single time it works to perfection, and Jake Davis gets an open corner three to start games. So I don't mind the spacing on the floor to start the game, but we're both agreeing here, I think. Illinois backcourt probably gets the advantage in this one. Moving on to the bench, because Michigan does have some good bench pieces. They play um, nine players. Let me see. Yeah, so they're four deep off the bench. They've got nine guys that average more than 16 minutes a game. Um, LJ Kaysen predominantly. Roddy Gale is in there. Those are both two veteran players. Trey McGuard, he's also a good 3-point shooter. They have had really good games this season off the bench. So as Will Cheddar, he can shoot it as well. I just don't
Chat
see
Chat
them.
GPT suggests Namari regret, which I
Oh,
kind of like.
okay. Thanks for AI. Thank you AI for that one. Make sure you're thanking
Yeah.
your AI.
And
We want to keep it real.
if you want me to generate any images of myself on ChatGPT,
No,
I can also do that.
that's okay. We can share those with another podcast. But bench players, gonna see a lot of Trey McKenney, gonna see a lot of LJ Kaysen, and gonna see a lot of Roddy Gale. If we see Will Cheddar too much, they've either fouled a lot or this game has gotten out of hand for the Illini. Um, I'm gonna give the bench the edge for the Illini because we're talking about Ben Humrickhouse, who's been pretty hot the last few games. We're talking about Andrei Stojakovic. Like if we're pulling Andre off the bench, it's going to be hard for anybody's bench to beat ours. We're also talking about Zvonimir Ivisic off the bench. I know we put him in the front court earlier. He is a very important part of the front court, so it's important to lump him in there. Um, Now the Illini's bench isn't as deep, obviously. So if this game is a running up and down the floor kind of game, it might help Michigan that they have a deeper bench. But just in terms of talent, are you agreeing there as well? Because I'm going to give the edge to the Illini.
I think I'm gonna go Michigan on this one. Oh wait, no, I'm not.
I was going to say,
I'm going Illinois in this one for one reason and one reason only. Petro booming. We got
mm, I
Petrovic.
forgot about Petro. I'm sorry. It was his 23rd birthday the other day too. The oldest,
Only
the oldest sophomore in all of college
I thought he
basketball.
was 28, so that's kind of surprising. I'm
No,
happy
he's
for him.
23. He's the same age as Yaxel Lendenberg, and Lendenberg's a fifth year senior, and Petro is a sophomore.
Love to see it, baby.
I'd love to see
Dude,
it.
how old is he going to be when he's like March of his senior year? How old will he be?
Well,
Because he just turned 23, so that's
he'd
what,
be
two more years?
25, 25.
25?
Yeah.
That's decent. That's decent. I
Isn't
graduated college at 21, so I mean, shit.
isn't cheese baked mozzarella like 26? Chad Baker
Yeah, he's
Mazara?
baked mozzarella. I'm not a fan of him, but don't even get me started on. I don't even want to think about that West Coast trip again. Don't remind me of that West Coast trip. I'm over that.
All
Don't
right.
mention cheese baked mozzarella. Don't mention Mickey Mouse Cronin, Mickey Mouse Crohn's disease, whatever nickname we want to come up for him. God, now I'm thinking about it again.
Sorry.
Continue.
Sorry, we'll continue on. So bench, edge, Illini. Last but not least, I need to get to the coaching. Dusty May versus Brad Underwood. I already know what you're going to say, but I do want to let you get your spiel in because I'm sure you'll have a great take about it. I want to give Dusty a little bit of credit because there is the case to be made that I mean he has made a Final Four in his career. Didn't he take Michigan to a Final Four as well, if I'm not mistaken? Hasn't he taken?
No,
Uh, let
no,
me just fact check
he
this. I
took
shouldn't have it off
Florida.
the
He
top of my
took
head.
Florida Atlantic pretty
Yeah, I know
far.
he did that, but I think he's taken two schools to the Final Four. Let me just fact check this real quick. I could be wrong, but I don't want to go
Yeah,
with
I'm
one
trying. I
word.
mean, I'm trying to think of a funny nickname for Dusty May other than the obvious, Dusty Gay, but that's just not clever enough. And
That's distasteful. We're not going to call him that.
we're
Um,
we're smarter than that. We're more intelligent than
Okay, I
that.
was wrong. He has not taken Michigan to a Final Four, but he did take Florida Atlantic to a Final Four in 2023. Um, so I mean, he's done well in March. He's wrapped up the Big Ten regular season title this year, at least a share of it. They did win the Big Ten tournament last year. So he's got rings. He's got his accolades. Brad certainly doesn't have as much of that in terms of March success, I would argue. But if you want to look at Big Ten tournament championships and Big Ten regular season titles, Brad has done a lot of that. So I think they match up kind of well. I will make the final point here because I think the most important thing to remember is Brad has not lost to Dusty May yet. So if you're going to just match up coach versus coach, I'm going to just take the winner of the head-to-head matchups. And Brad is what 3-0 or 4-0 against Dusty May since he's become Michigan's head coach. And I know he was dealing with rebuilding the program when he took it over, but head-to-head record shows that Brad Underwood can outcoach Dusty May, at least on paper. So I'm going to go edge Brad Underwood. But I think Dusty May is a pretty good coach. I don't like him taking Big Ten players. That's typically pretty frowned upon, stealing portal players that were in your own conference. So I know some other Big Ten coaches under the table have said some not so great things about him, but he's a good in-game manager, and he's taken Florida Atlantic to a Final Four. So that says a lot as well. Now your take on Dusty May, please, who we're not going to call Dusty Gay.
Yeah, and I can't think of another nickname, honestly. Dusty's just such a weird name. Like, I'm gonna name my
You
kid
just flip his,
Dusty.
you just flip the letters of his first and last name around, just Musty Day.
Musty Day, yeah, that's not bad. But Dusty's just like, I don't know. It's a strange name, but I'm going Brad. I mean, honestly, Dusty May's a really good coach, but I don't think Brad's 4-0 against him because Dusty's only been in Michigan 1 year. He was there last year, right? Was his first year.
That is correct. Sorry, yeah. Or
So
two.
he's probably like at most like 3-0 against him. But
Yeah.
I would be, yeah, I'd say they're both pretty evenly matched in terms of ability. They're both high caliber coaches, maybe not necessarily top five in the league, but probably top 10, I'd say.
In college basketball, right?
Right.
Okay. I thought you meant Big Ten. I was like, they're definitely top three in the Big Ten, but
No, yeah, all of college. I mean, I think Brad Underwood's a top 10 coach. I know some people would disagree, but I think this year he's gotten better. I think just his ability to adapt and to bring in pieces that help the team, I think is this year especially, he's grown in all those departments. But Brad Underwood, it's almost like you can kind of get under their skin a little bit Brett Bielema, South Carolina, T-pose situation. I wouldn't be opposed to a Brad Underwood T-pose. Get Dusty May fired up. Maybe, hey, get him, ejected from the game. Just get him so heated that he just gets tossed from the game. Dusty is not usually a guy that loses his cool though, right?
No, I haven't seen him lose his temper very often. A
Yeah, I
few
mean
years in the
that
Big
that,
Ten,
that
though. A few years in the
dude,
Big Ten, though, and I bet he changes that changes his temper surely.
that Michigan State game, he's pregame, he sat in the student section and was like lounging, and they were all,
He's a bit of
chirping,
a
and
troll.
he was loving it. So he seems pretty cool. Seems like a pretty nice guy, but Illinois got their number. He's in his head. I think all the players were kind of looking past this game, not even really thinking about it. But I think Dusty Mays had it circled on his schedule. He's kept in the back of his mind, like, shit, we got this Illinois game coming up. So, and we've seen that in that Duke game, they don't beat every good team they play. I mean, up to this point, they've beaten every good team they've played, but they've shown that they have weaknesses and they didn't score very many points. And Illinois is playing at home, so if Illinois can just that's the thing. You gotta have a good defensive performance. Period. If you don't have a good defensive performance, you can't let them score 95 points. That's the problem. Oh great, you scored 92 at home. They scored 96. So yeah, if you have a good defensive performance, Illinois is going to win this game 80% of the time. They have the shooting, they have the length to match up with Michigan. That's one of Michigan's, weaknesses is teams that are long. So they've got all the right pieces. It's just a matter of can you put them all together. So we'll see, but I gotta go Brad Underwood.
All right, so that concludes at least the backcourt, front court, bench, coach analysis and rundown and predictions. There are some intangibles I want to bring up first, just because. So Illinois' offense, Ken Palm, 133. That's number one in the country, number one in history. Michigan's not too far behind though. They've got the number five offense in college basketball at 128.1, and they've got the number two defense in all of college basketball. The Illini have moved up a spot in terms of team defense. They are now number. Oh, I'm sorry, they fell since I last refreshed the page. They are still number 30. Um, when it comes down to big games, they say a lot of times defense win games, and I'm not going to give a prediction for this one, just like I didn't give a prediction for any of the last three podcasts. And I guess we're 2-1, so it hasn't been a lucky thing, but I'm not going to give a game prediction for this one. I just think your point is very spot on. Defense is going to win this game for the Illini if they are going to pull it off. It's going to help that they have the home court advantage in the home atmosphere. I think the Orange Crush, this needs to be their loudest game of the season by far. Um, Offensively, I think both teams match up really well. I think it's also going to be important to see which team shoots a higher percentage of, not percentage of threes, but makes a higher percentage of threes in this game. I think the number at which the Illini typically win games is if they make 10 or more. And if they don't make 10 or more, they typically lose games. And the percentage that they typically lose games at is 30% or under. So if they shoot worse than 30% and they don't make 10 or more threes, I don't like our odds in this game. Numbers point to us losing. And if that's the case, I just fear a Michigan blowout. I would really hate for Michigan to come in here. I know they just had a game more recently than the Illini in their last game against Minnesota. A lot of people were thinking that could have been a trap game for them. They didn't overlook it, obviously, because they won by 10. But they will be a little bit more battered and bruised than the Illini, who have had 6 days off since their last game. That all being said, Noah, I'll let you get to your prediction and your MVP, and then I'll give my MVP to wrap it up. But I don't want to give a prediction either way. All I'm going to say is I hope if the Illini lose this game, it's not by 20 points. I just hope they keep it close.
Don't
Hey,
even speak that into existence, you
well, I'm not
fool.
manifesting that. I'm just saying Michigan has blown out good teams this year. They beat Gonzaga by what, 40? And I know it's Gonzaga, but
Don't do it. Don't
sorry.
speak it into existence.
Sorry.
I think it's
Irritated.
going to be interesting to see how the refs play a factor into it. Is there going to be a lot of fouls? We know Illinois can shoot pretty well from the free throw line. I don't know how well Michigan shoots from the free throw line. Probably pretty well. But it's going to be interesting. I mean, if you can get Merez in foul trouble, Mara in foul trouble, I mean, I know Illinois is not the deepest team in the league. They're pretty deep. I don't know how deep Michigan is either, but I'd say Illinois is probably a little bit deeper. So Illinois can afford to get into foul trouble a little bit more, but they also don't foul as much. So the refs are going to be a key factor in this game. Are they going to let the boys play? Are they going to, call everything? I think either way could favor Illinois. I guess it just depends on how you look at it. But so far, the games where there's been a lot of fouls, Illinois has generally come out on top from what I can remember. But my prediction for MVP for this game, man, that's a great question because I got two names. I got three names right now. It's between the bigs, right? It's Merck and the Ivisic brothers. It's one of them, I think. It's going to be the MVP. Which one is the man? I'm gonna say Tommy, just because the revenge game, the Merez, watch what I can do. I'm gonna go to the league. You aren't. Maybe Merez will go to the league. I fear it'll be. I mean, he doesn't want to have a Kofi Coburn situation, but I fear he will have a Kofi Coburn situation where he'll try to go to the league, it won't pan out, and he'll end up playing in Guangdong, China. So we'll see. But he, if I had to pick a person, I'd pick Tommy, and I'd say stat line 24 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and final score, man, Illinois 88, Michigan 79 is what I think.
All right. And is it close until the end, or are we beating them the whole game, or?
It's pretty close until the end. And then foul trouble, Illinois gets on the line and seals it.
All
Keaton
right.
Wagler, ice cold in his veins on the line.
I do think we'll need a Keaton Wagler like 30-point performance to not have a chance in this one. I just think it's a typical time and a perfect time for Keaton to step up again and kind of remind the country of why he's so good because his last couple of performances, they weren't not great, but they weren't 36-point performances or 46-point performances like we saw against Purdue. So I think he steps up. He's going to be, I guess we can't call him the MVP because I said earlier in the podcasts, it's everybody but Keaton Wagler for MVP. So I guess that's kind of breaking my own rule, but I will predict Keaton Wagler MVP in this one. You said 88-79, correct? All right. That's the only prediction we're going to get because I refuse to give one for this game. I'm excited to watch it nonetheless. However it goes, I mean, the good thing about this one is the Illini are kind of playing with house money once again. So if you want to take the quote from the Nebraska game, I know it was at Pinnacle Bank Arena, and for that reason they said rob the fucking bank. But I'm going to say rob the fucking bank again because we're playing with house money in this one. Michigan's already wrapped up a share of the conference title.
What's
So
the name of their stadium?
State Farm Center.
No, Michigan.
Oh, Chrysler Arena.
I guess we are playing in State Farm Center, but if we were playing in Michigan, we could say, rob the Chrysler dealership.
Yeah, rob the car dealership, but
Rob the
um,
Pizza Hut, baby.
yeah. Anyways, I'm excited for this one regardless. It'll be fun to watch, and then the Illini have two games against lower end Big Ten opponents that will wrap the season up. Um, I'm getting excited for March. March is 3 days away, 4 days away. Um, this time of the college basketball season is always super exciting. And then before we wrap it up, I do want to give a shout out to DePaul, who knocked off the Creighton Blue Jays for the second time this season. They swept the Creighton Blue Jays, who are typically a much better basketball team than they are this year. But the DePaul Blue Demons won both matchups 72 to 71. And they won tonight after Creighton missed a last second shot. It was fun to watch. And DePaul has not won 7 conference games since, let me see here. I think it was like 2005 when they were in Conference USA. It's been a long time since they've won 7 conference games. And they're actually on that, like the seeding line in the Big East tournament for the
If they
first.
win out, I was just talking about this with Riley. If they win out and Creighton loses and Seton Hall loses out, they'll finish fourth in the
Yeah,
conference.
they could get a bye. They're still in play for a
They
bye.
could very well get a bye, which would be crazy. And they'd
That would
probably
be
have to win
crazy.
a couple games in the tournament as well.
Well, they'd have to win the tournament to make the NCAAs, but
I want to say something. ChatGPT says yes, it is possible that Jelly Roll will be in attendance at the Illinois-Michigan game.
Possible why? What?
Possible. Because it says it doesn't know where he's going to be. So I said, okay, well, does
I mean,
that mean
it's
it's
certainly
possible?
possible. He's not dead.
Well, that's all I'm saying. If there's a chance, then I'm going with it, baby. We need him there. We need him there really, really bad. That's a
And
big game.
Peja Stojakovic's wife, and Peja Stojakovic, and the rest of the Illinois crowd that we have dubbed as good luck this season. We need all the luck we can get. I think we should have burned Sage on this podcast episode. We may have had a missed opportunity there, but you're predicting 88 to 79 for the Illini. We'll see how it all goes down on Friday night at 7 p.m. on Fox. I'm really looking forward to this one, Noah. So ILL.
I and I.